BTS Global News Exclusive. Seoul, October 2025. The sky over Seoul that evening looked like a heavy gray canvas hanging low, as if it knew there were still unspoken words between two souls who have long been the heartbeat of millions around the world: Jungkook and Park Jimin. Two names that could never truly be separated, even when the world began to look elsewhere, even when Jungkook's next steps carried all eyes toward his solo future. Yet, behind all that glitter, there was a soft, subtle shadow shaping the new direction of his life. Jimin, when the world called Jungkook the Golden Magne, he never truly claimed the title. From the very beginning, he only wanted to work hard, to be better, and to give something real. But when news of his new solo project began leaking to the public last month, there was something different in the way he spoke. His tone wasn't just full of ambition. It was the tone of someone who had finally found direction after wandering too long among the lights. And behind that new direction, few knew that Jimin was quietly influencing every step, not through grand words, but through silences that spoke louder than anything else. This story didn't begin in a big studio or on a dazzling stage. It started on a quiet night in Los Angeles, at the end of the Golden Stage tour. Jungkook was sitting alone on the balcony of his hotel, staring at the starry sky, while the faint echoes of ARMY's cheers still lingered below. That was when Jimin knocked on his door, not saying much, just holding 2 bottles of cold water and a crumpled piece of paper. "You haven't rested?" Jimin asked softly. Jungkook only shook his head, his eyes heavy with something unspoken. Jimin sat beside him, looking up at the same sky, and whispered, "You know, sometimes we get so busy being everyone's hope that we forget what it feels like to be ourselves." That sentence, according to someone from their close staff circle, became a turning point for Jungkook. From that night on, he began writing again, not songs about love or loss, but about searching, about a voice lost in the roar of applause, about a shadow that guides you even when unseen. He wrote in silence, between rehearsals, on planes, even in green rooms before big shows. And every time doubt crept in, he would open a message from Jimin containing just 3 words: "Trust your sound." The following months became a time of deep transformation. Jungkook turned down many international collaboration offers, some from huge names like The Weeknd and Dua Lipa. His reason was simple: he wanted to create something born from himself. Yet behind the scenes, Jimin was often the first to hear every demo Jungkook recorded. Sometimes it was only a hum with no lyrics, sometimes an unfinished guitar riff. But every time, Jimin would reply with one comforting comment: "I can hear you in this." Their artistic closeness didn't appear overnight. For years, they've been 2 opposite poles that constantly pull toward each other. Jungkook with his fiery energy, Jimin with his soft calmness. When they used to appear on Run BTS, many thought their relationship was just playful banter for the camera. But for those who looked closer, there was something deeper in those pauses between laughter, in the brief glances, the gentle shoulder taps, and the silence before the music began to eye in an interview with a Japanese music magazine last month. Jungkook fell silent for a long time when asked who helped him the most in finding his new direction as a solo artist. He smiled faintly before saying, "There's someone who reminded me that a true voice doesn't need to shout to be heard." ARMY across the world instantly caught the meaning. Timelines on Weverse and X exploded with theories. Some convinced it was about Jimin, others said it was too personal to guess. But for those who followed their journey from the start, the answer felt clear. Night after night at the HYBE studio became witness to that transformation. Jungkook, who usually practiced alone, was now sometimes seen bringing 2 cups of coffee, placing one on the piano corner before smiling to himself, a small habit Jimin used to have. Staff members said that Jimin would sometimes come quietly to the studio without anyone knowing. He would just sit in the corner, listen to Jungkook sing, and offer gentle advice between silences. "You don't need to force that note. Let the emotion carry it," Jimin said one night. Jungkook nodded, took a deep breath, and tried again. This time his voice sounded raw, honest, and deeply moving. That there's something in their relationship that always transcends professionalism. It's not just about collaboration. It's about understanding without explanation. When Jungkook faced immense pressure to carve out a solo identity distinct from BTS, Jimin was the first to tell him, You don't have to be different to be yourself. You just have to be honest. Those words made Jungkook pause his writing for a few days, not out of confusion, but realization of how profound the meaning truly was. Now, as the world anticipates Jungkook's second solo album, reportedly titled Liminal, fans have started noticing small, easily overlooked details. In the teaser visual released by HYBE last week, there's a brief scene of Jungkook staring into a mirror as a soft voice in Korean whispers in the background. "Do you still believe in yourself?" The voice sounds strikingly like Jimin. Armies went wild. Thousands of comments flooded the video asking if Jimin was really involved in the production. But HYBE stayed silent, letting the mystery grow warm and alive. Several industry insiders revealed that Jimin indeed helped during the pre-production phase of Jungkook's album, particularly in vocal tone selection and visual concept discussions. Though not officially credited as a producer or songwriter, his presence was deeply felt. "Jimin is like a calming mirror for Jungkook," said one producer who has worked with both. "He doesn't try to change Jungkook. He helps him see himself without fear." That bond has become the spiritual foundation of Jungkook's solo path. He no longer seeks to prove anything. He just wants to release something true. During one of his Weverse lives last month, Jungkook fell silent after a fan commented, "We miss Jimin Hyung too." Jungkook smiled gently, looked at the screen, and said, "Yeah, I miss him too. You know, he's everywhere in my songs, even when you don't hear him." That line left the fandom in stillness, not out of shock, but out of deep understanding that if we look closer, Jimin's influence is everywhere, though not always visible. From the way Jungkook danced with deeper emotional expression during his last performance in London, to how he now speaks more softly at press conferences in Seoul, it's as if he no longer walks alone, as if he carries a part of Jimin's serenity with him on every stage. Meanwhile, Jimin has chosen a quieter path. After his brief comeback earlier this year with the mini-album Serenity, he has been spending most of his time in his private studio, occasionally posting short clips of gentle piano melodies. But keen-eyed armies noticed that some of those melodies were identical to the intros of Jungkook's new songs. Coincidence? Or are the two still artistically connected despite walking separate routes? Their story now feels like an unfinished symphony, two distinct notes that complete each other. The world might see Jungkook stepping boldly into his solo future, but those who truly know will see Jimin's quiet reflection behind him, a harmony that keeps the balance. Perhaps that's BTS's greatest secret all along. Even when they walk different paths, they are never truly alone. The coming weeks will be crucial for Jungkook. His first concert for the new album is set to take place in New York, and rumors suggest Jimin might be there, not on stage, but in the audience, watching quietly from afar, like someone who already knows every note about to be sung. If that's true, the world will once again witness something far greater than a performance, a bond that transcends words, time, and even music itself.